Hello, Frog fans and everyone new. Alright, so this is going to be the third installment into my little series on if you were a parent, should you buy a child a reborn? It's a big question. A lot of people don't know what they're doing when they get into the hobby. Not getting into the hobby when they're buying a doll for a child, they're not into the hobby, so they have no idea what they're doing, and there's a lot of things that don't make sense or are very surprising. So me as an artist dealing with parents of children who are buying reborns for their children, I've dealt with a lot of those questions, a lot of confusion, so I wanted to make this series to help make the whole thing a little more clear. So I have 2 other videos about the topic, and I plan on making 2 more after this. But today we're tackling the actual question is, should you? There's a whole bunch of technicalities, but now we're doing the actual should you buy your specific child a reborn. Obviously, I don't know you, I don't know your child, and every child is extraordinarily different. So it's hard to really put an age range on it, but for me, when considering that question, should you buy a reborn doll for a child, it comes down to age and maturity. So thinking of age and what you typically see of children certain ages, I would say 9 years old is the very youngest you should go. I know that might seem surprising to people. They are dolls. However, they're less dolls and they are more art than they are toys. So I would say 9 years old is the limit of the youngest you should go. However, I have met a lot of mature younger children who are younger than 9 years old. So that's why I'm going to go more into detail on this as, a base guideline sort of thing, 9 and up. But if you think your child is more mature than most children that age, here's a few things you should probably look out for. That would be signs that your child isn't ready for one of these dolls yet. So, certain behaviors you should look out for. Are they constantly losing toys? Are they always losing things and then, Mom, I can't find blah. Mom, help me find this. Mom. We've all seen it. I have a younger brother. I know I've seen it. I know that I must have done it when I was a child, even though I don't remember it. Every child does it. If your child is still using that, is still doing that, probably not a good sign. Are they constantly breaking their toys? If your child is constantly coming up to you with a broken toy in their hands going, fix please, probably don't want to buy them a reborn. If you're always finding their toys on the floor, if they have other dolls and you're constantly finding the baby in the middle of the floor, tripping over it, the dog's carrying it around by its leg, if they're constantly leaving their possessions where they can get damaged, probably don't want to buy them a reborn. Just going down my list here. If they do a lot of drawing and defacing of their toys. Now, there's nothing wrong with this. I did this a whole lot as a child, and that's probably one of the things that lead me into this hobby. It's creative, it's great. However, if you're buying a very expensive piece of artwork, you probably don't want your child painting their nails, giving them a Crayola marker mustache, cutting their hair into all sorts of weird shapes. If they have other dolls like Barbies or, normal factory dolls and they're doing a lot of that to those, probably don't want to get them a reborn. Chances are, if they want a reborn, they already have other normal store-bought factory dolls. How do they treat those dolls? Watch them with the doll. Do they do a lot of the toddler doll carry? They carry it around by one arm. I'm not going to let this doll go because it could tear her vinyl arm, which is exactly the reason that this question is for. If they treat their dolls very roughly that they already have at home, chances are they're going to treat the Reborns the same way, and the Reborn dolls will get broken, because the Reborn dolls are more art than they are toys, and they are a lot more fragile than a Walmart. What was that? That was not English. Than a Walmart or Target bought doll. Okay, what's next? If they have other expensive items, how do they treat them? I know that when I was about 10, I think, my father bought me a DSi and a handheld, apparently I can't talk today, handheld video game system, and I treated a lot of my other toys like crap, but since I knew that this was very expensive and I really enjoyed it, I was very, very careful with my DS. However, it still did eventually get broken. If your children have other things like a DS or other expensive items that they regularly play with, how do they treat those? I know that my brother was way too young when my parents bought him a DS and he was constantly breaking these things. If that sounds like your kid, you probably don't want to buy them a Reborn. However, if they have other expensive things like handheld electronics and they tend to treat those like they're their little babies, then you might want to consider having a talk with them and, asking them, I see that you treat your other toy, let me rephrase that. I see that you treat your video game system, phone, whatever you want to call it, tablet, whatever it may be, I see that you treat this other expensive thing very well. You might not treat your other toys as well, but you take very good care of this. If I got you the Reborn that you want, can you promise me that you would treat it with the same respect you do blank thing? So really, just you will know your child better than anyone, and if you if you think that they would be able to treat the doll responsibly, now it's not that, I don't want kids abusing the dolls because they feel, no, they're not real, they're fake. However, my concern is you spending a whole bunch of money on this doll, and then within a week it's broken and destroyed. Okay, so if you are listening to these and think, my child does all those things, and you think that they're not ready, then you might want to consider, talking to them, telling them that if you're going to ever get a Reborn, I want you to start taking better care of your other toys. And, try to convince them to take a little more responsibility, take better care of their things. You're the parent, you do whatever you think is best. Just as a suggestion, maybe try that. And also to tide them over, because I know that when children want something, it's so exciting and they just want it now. I can remember that. I can remember being a kid and feeling so excited about this thing, and I just want it now. I don't want to wait. If that's your child, try and tide them over with some regular factory-bought dolls, or there is a website called Paradise Galleries, and they sell factory-made dolls that are more realistic than what you would find at a Target, and more painted, and the manufacturing and the making of them is more involved than just a normal Walmart doll. That means they're a little bit more expensive, but they will be a lot more hardy. They won't break as easy, they're not worth as much. And on that note, I'm taking a risk here because I'm probably going to get a lot of crap for this in the community. If the problem is price, if, you're looking at the price of Reborns and saying, I can't afford this, I would tell you not to use Paradise Galleries as a alternative. If your child looks at the Paradise Galleries dolls and says, that's what I want, absolutely go ahead with that. But if your child is determined that they want a Reborn doll, I wouldn't really call a Paradise Galleries doll a substitute. In my opinion, they don't look real. They look like a doll. They may look slightly more realistic than a Walmart doll, but no one's going to look at it and go, oh, cute baby. That's just my personal opinion. And also, the price. The price is a lot cheaper than high-quality dolls, high-quality Reborns. However, the Paradise Galleries dolls go for around $120 to $160. That is what a lot of new artists selling on Facebook and Kijiji and those places, the artists that are just getting started off, that's the price that they are often selling their first dolls for. That's what my dolls are going for right now. So if your child really, really wants a Reborn, I wouldn't go to Paradise Galleries as an alternative. I would go to Facebook, look up cheap Reborn dolls, Boo Boo Baby Reborns, join those groups, and yes, a lot of them might look like crap, but every once in a while you're going to find a young, inspiring artist like me who sells her dolls for a lot cheaper starting out because she knows that even though her dolls look like they might be worth a little bit more, she still isn't. Or there are male Reborn artists out there as well. They know that they don't have the notoriety in the community yet to be selling for more, and they want to get their work moving. So I would go in, Facebook is probably the best place to find cheaper dolls that would be higher quality. You're going to find a lot of duds, but every once in a while you find that diamond in the rough that is in the good price range that you're looking for, in the price range of a Paradise Galleries, but it's a decent looking Reborn for an incredible price because the artist is being a little too self-conscious, a little generous, a combination thereof. Join Facebook groups. I'm telling you, join Facebook groups. It's the best place to find work from artists that are going to go big eventually. Alright, another thing, if you feel like that you can't afford to buy your child a Reborn doll, start a savings jar. I'm taking it, if you're watching this video, you're watching it because you would potentially like to buy your child a Reborn doll and you want to know more. So, if you have some money to give to this, but you don't have a lot, talk to your child, start a savings jar. Whatever money you can have to put towards this, put it in the jar. Have your child put whatever money they get their hands on into the jar, especially if they're one of those kids who goes and spends every penny they have on junk. I was a little bit of that kid, not much, but, put whatever money you have to put towards the doll into the savings jar, and, count down, set a budget, and then count down to the closer you get to your goal, and that would make it more exciting. You could also give your child money for doing chores around the house. That again is, like an individual thing. Someone's probably saying, well, I already have my child doing chores around the house. That's their job. That's how they contribute. I agree. I wasn't raised that way, but I agree. However, if you want a way to make your child earn the doll, that could be a way you could go. You could give them certain chores to do that you could give them a little bit of money for to put into the savings jar. Or you could, depending on the age of your child, you could see if, well, not right now because of the quarantine and the nasty sickness that's going around, but, in the potential future, you could see if their neighbors ever need anything done that they could get a little bit of change for, a little tiny bit of cash, like if you have snow, shoveling the driveway, shoveling the front walk, taking the dog for a walk, raking leaves, mowing the lawn, taking the garbage out, stuff like that. So, small little things that your child could do to help put towards this doll. Okay, is there anything else? I don't think so. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I hope this was helpful. Just another little side note, because I'm afraid of backlash. I don't have anything wrong with Paradise Galleries. I just don't think that they're a substitute for Reborns, especially when you could really help a new starting off artist by buying one of their dolls for around the same price instead. Don't have anything wrong with them. That's just my stance on it, because it is a big company. They're not going to take a hit if someone decides not to buy a doll. However, this new starting little artist, you could really help them. However, if you're just looking for collective dolls, or if that's the doll that your child wants, absolutely buy from Paradise Galleries. They're not bad quality dolls. Just, as what I've said. Anyways. So, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm absolutely happy to help. You can put it in the comments, you can email me any of this stuff. Go check out my social medias. And the next 2 videos I'll be making are about how to avoid Reborn doll scams, because those are very prevalent on the internet, and where to buy a Reborn. What are trusted sites, what are trusted places, a little bit more about, telling if a Reborn doll is legit, telling if you've got a good deal on it or not. Anyways, that's going to be all for today. I hope you enjoyed. Keep living the Frogman's life, and we'll see you next time. Bye. I just made her hit herself. Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? I'm not insane, I swear.